safest place for a nighttime stroll.
Welcome, dear viewers, to Couch Warrior TV on YouTube. I am the Couch Warrior, and this is Unbound Workshop. This video series is the companion to Character Crusade Unbound podcast. In each episode, we explore Skyrim roleplay concepts and ideas through actual gameplay. Season 1 of the podcast is called Random Skyrim Roleplay.
Enchant my sword. Dull old blade can barely cut butter.
And our character concept is Raiden, the Ashaba Undead Slayer. I think it's important to point out that if you have questions about this character, if you have questions about what has been done already, if you're interested in more information about what this character is doing in terms of story and mods and all that kind of stuff, there's a certain amount of information, obviously, you can get through this playthrough. But understand, there's also a whole bunch of companion information to this in the podcast. So, if you're not listening to episodes of the podcast, you're only getting about half the story, maybe less. So, just something to point out there. It's rather important because there are quite a few questions that have been coming up recently in the YouTube comments that are answered in great detail during the podcast. All right, so just a little info for you there in case you want to check that out. I mean, the whole point of this is that this is kind of a video journal of what's going on with the character, and we talk about all of these things and a lot of more in-depth ideas about role play and my reasons for doing the things that I'm doing in each episode of the podcast. So, if you have an opportunity, check out the back episodes. All that stuff is available at charactercrusade.com. You can find links to all the episodes of the podcast that are published both on YouTube and iTunes if you want to listen on the go. So lots of options. Lots of options. All right. So in the last episode, we talked quite a bit about the transformation of Raiden after having committed cold-blooded murder. Now, one of the things I mentioned is that I took away the Standing Stone power. For the purposes of my playthrough, I'm not really treating the Standing Stones as if they are Standing Stones that bestow powers in the traditional sense. The power that he had associated with binding spirits, as you know, is related to the ritual stone, obviously modified by Andromeda. But I was kind of portraying that as sort of an innate ability that he has as an Ashaba warrior. Something that comes with being an Ashaba warrior. And so the fact that I've taken it away now, I think merits some explanation. And what I mean by that is that he simply isn't saying, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. If it's innate, you can't really control it. So the power has been stripped away from him, and it's been the only way that it could have been stripped away from him is if it were stripped away by some other entity, some other being. Perhaps Tuwaka himself took it away. Perhaps somehow it's a function of Arcade. Who knows? All he knows is that he used to have the power, and after this incident, he no longer does. So what that means to him is that he has dishonored himself to the point where some greater being had stripped him of this power that is the kind of quintessential power associated with being an Ashaba warrior, and now it is gone. All right? So a lot of the transformation that we're seeing in the character right now is related to this change and his changing view of himself. So as a result, we're seeing different armor. Now this is armor he made himself. And when we left off, we were in Whiterun. We kicked around Whiterun a little bit, and then I traveled to Riften, and I kind of left out all of the travel time to Riften, and then once I got to Riften, I spent a whole bunch of time kind of crafting and using the materials that I already had to make an alternate weapon. Now, because of these changes, he is hobbled quite a bit compared to where he was before. The sword that he is using as his primary weapon right now is not as powerful as the other sword was. It has no enchantments of any kind versus undead, anything like that. So that's important to note. And also then, of course, we don't have the ritual stone power, so we don't have our own little private army of spirits to help us get through battles and stuff. So those are all important distinctions, I think, to point out here. The other thing that's important is I have, in this session, in this play session, I have, again, we're using the combat overhaul. We've discussed it in previous episodes, but it's Wildcat Combat Overhaul by Niscion. And then I've also dialed the difficulty back up to Legendary, so we're back up to Legendary difficulty in this session. Let's see how that goes. Difficulty is one of those things that I feel pretty comfortable dialing up and down based on my play experience. So I figured we'll give it a shot at Legendary again here. Now, I did create this armor. I smithed it up as best I could with his current skills, and I also enchanted it as best I could with his current skills. So he has some benefits going on there, which is going to be helpful. It'll be essential for survivability. But it's not. He's not going to be quite as powerful as he was in the last couple episodes, so... Again, this is the Knight Ranger armor with a custom texture that I created myself. All right, let's get on up here. Let's talk to Isran. Let's also make sure that Gunmar and Soreen are here. They should be by now. They should have beat us here without a problem, since we took that break in Markarth. So we've done a lot of crafting in the last few episodes. I'm thinking that should allow us to sort of hold off on the crafting for a while. We should be good for at least a little while, I hope. And here they are.
All right, Isran. You've got us all here. Now, what do you want?
Hold it right there.
What are you doing?
Making sure you're not vampires. Can't be too careful. So, welcome to Fort Dawnguard. I'm sure you've heard a bit of what we're up against. Powerful vampires, unlike anything we've seen before. And they have an Elder Scroll. If anyone is going to stand in their way, it's going to be us.
This is all well and good, but do we actually know anything about what they're doing? What do we do now?
We'll get to that. For now, get acquainted with the space. Soreen, you'll find room to start your tinkering on that crossbow design you've been working on. Gunmar, there's an area large enough for you to pen up some trolls. Get them armored up and ready for use. In the meantime, we're going to get to the bottom of why a vampire showed up here looking for you. Let's go have a little chat with it, shall we?
Oh, crap. Well, he's talking to us there. Looks like we're in the doghouse now. Well, let's go see what the boss has to say. Oh, shit.
This vampire showed up while you were away. I'm guessing it's the one you found in Dim Hollow Crypt. Says it's got something really important to say to you. So let's hear it.
You probably weren't expecting to see me again.
No. What are you doing here?
I'd rather not be here either, but I needed to talk to you. It's important, so please just listen, before your friend here loses his patience. Well, it's about me, and the Elder Scroll that was buried with me.
All right. We'll take a business-like approach. What about the scroll?
The reason I had it, and why I was down there. It all comes back to my father. I'm guessing you figured this part out already, but my father's not exactly a good person, even by vampire standards. He wasn't always like that, though. There was a turn. He stumbled onto this obscure prophecy and just kind of lost himself in it.
Look at Golmar stand up. What sort of prophecy?
It's pointless and vague, like all prophecies. The part he latched onto said that vampires would no longer need to fear the sun. That's what he's after. He wants to control the sun. Have vampires control the world.
Control the
Anyway,
sun.
my mother and I didn't feel like inviting a war with all of Tamriel, so we tried to stop him. That's why I was sealed away with the scroll.
All right. What does all this have to do with the Dawnguard?
I'm sorry. I had heard there were vampire hunters here. I thought they might want to know about a vampire plot to enslave the rest of the world. Was I wrong?
No, you weren't wrong. It's just weird coming from a vampire. All right. No, you're right. We just have to convince the others that you're on our side.
Well, let's move then. I'm nothing if not persuasive.
All right.
All right, you've heard what it has to say. Now tell me, is there any reason I shouldn't kill this blood-sucking fiend right now?
All right. Because we're going to need her help.
Why? Because of that story about the prophecy about some vampire trying to put the sun out? Do you actually believe any of that?
Why else would she risk her life coming here?
Who knows? Maybe it has a death wish. Maybe it's just insane. I don't really care. It can stay for now. But if it so much as lays a finger on anyone here, I'll hold you responsible. Got it? You hear me? Don't feel like a guest, because you're not. You're a resource. You're an asset. In the meantime, don't make me regret my sudden outburst of tolerance and generosity. Because if you do, your friend here is going to pay for it.
Thank you for your kindness. I'll remember it the next time I'm feeling hungry. So, in
Damn.
case you didn't notice the giant thing on my back, I have the Elder Scroll with me.
Yeah?
Whatever it says,
kinda
it will
obvious.
have something that can help us stop my father. But of course, neither of us can read it.
Right. Who can read it?
Well, the Moth Priests are the only ones I've heard of who can do it. They spend years preparing before they start reading, though. Not that it helps us anyway, because they're all half a continent away, in Cyrodiil.
Some Imperial scholar arrived in Skyrim a few days ago. I was staking out the road when I saw him pass by. Maybe that's your Moth Priest.
Do you know where he's staying now?
No, and I'm not going to waste men looking. We're fighting a war against your kind, and I intend to win it. You want to find him? Try talking to anyone who'd meet a traveler. Innkeepers and carriage drivers in the big cities, maybe. But you're on your own.
Any idea how you're going to find a Moth Priest? Skyrim's a pretty big place. Any idea how you're going to find a Moth Priest? Skyrim's a pretty big place.
Yeah? I don't know. Where would a Moth Priest go?
Well, back before you know. The College of Winterhold was the first place I'd think to go for any kind of magic or historical thing. The wizards know about all kinds of things that people probably shouldn't know about. Actually, now that I think of it, I'm going to come along with you. I've been really wanting to get out and explore a bit.
All right. All right. Well, if we're going to do it, let's get going. Let's get ready. All right, so we got our work cut out for us. Now we're going to visit Gunmar and Serene before we leave. See what we can learn from them. I think we can pick up some extra missions from them as well. May as well do it all at once. I'll see if any of them are over here. No. Let's
watch what you're doing.
Check in here. Hey.
Well, this isn't exactly a palace, is it? Still, it's sturdy, secure, and seems defensible.
Yeah.
I suppose I'd rather be here than most other places in Skyrim. If Isran needs me, it must be pretty bad. I wonder what we're up against here.
All right. Let's see. Can you teach me how to make a crossbow?
A basic one, of course. That is, assuming you know anything about steelsmithing. It's pretty
Sure.
simple. Talk to Gunmar if you need materials.
All right, cool. Let's see. What can I do to help?
I want to add some punch to our crossbow capabilities. I've done all I can on my own. I need a little inspiration. I've always been fascinated with Dwemer artifacts. I take them apart, poke around in their guts, and try to figure things out, with mixed results. But as luck would have it, I've tracked down the location of some actual Dwemer diagram drawings. So, if you'd be a dear and collect those plans for me?
Sure, no problem. We can do that. That'll do for now. Let's talk to Gunmar.
Do you think Florentius really talks to RK?
If you're putting yourself in harm's way, you'd best be prepared. Take these.
I suppose we're all a little crazy.
Heavy armor,
right?
boots, gauntlets. Okay. What can I do to help you?
I found another beast hiding from the light of day. He's holed up with a group of necromancers. We need to destroy him before he turns his comrades into a brood of vampires.
All right, Master Vampire's gotta go. All right, we're on it.
Take care of yourself.
Let's see what he gave us. Heavy armor, light gauntlets, and light boots.
Cozy little place, isn't this?
You got for
Isran had a
sale.
surprising stockpile of weapons and armor. Take a look.
All right, I'm thinking. All right. Dawnguard heavy boots, heavy gauntlets, and I'll sell back this light stuff. All right, that's pretty good. That's good
Good
for
luck.
now. We can always come back and talk to him later. All right, easy, easy, before you freaks get all crazy. You wait here. Hey, Serana. Come on.
This is fine for now, but we can't stay holed up here forever.
Oh, what is it?
I want you to wait here.
I'll be here.
Good. All right.
Our sense of what's right is what separates us from the vampires. Don't forget that.
Take care of that pesky
Yes.
thirst problem. All right, let's have a look here and see what we need to upgrade this armor. Steel, steel, steel. All right, we can do that. Hey, dude.
We'll stop these monsters. It's no war maidens, but I've got a decent supply.
All right. Give me 3 of those.
Fight bravely, friend.
All right, now we're going to switch over to our smithing gear. Smith, smith. Let's do what we can with it. I don't have any potions I can use right now, so we'll make the best of the situation. Okay, so I got a role play moment here.
Yes?
Now, for the sake of role play, we are going to put ourselves in the shoes of Goldir. It is up to us to give him a voice. And what I'm saying in this situation is that Goldir is very excited about the idea of being accepted as one of the Dawnguard, and he is going to go all in, which means we are going to outfit him as a Dawnguard warrior, full on. So we're going to take away the armor, the boots, and the gauntlets, and we're going to give him this. All right. And oh, he's encumbered. So we're going to take some stuff back from him here. Let's take back that. Take that. How's he doing now? Still encumbered. All right, all right. Damn it. Let's take it all. All right. So, we are going to give him that. Now, I'm not going to do the helmet for now. I think part of what makes this crew distinctive is going to be their hoods. That's going to be part of it. That's what's going to set them apart from the rest of the Dawnguard rabble, is that they dress similarly in some fashion or another, and the hoods are going to be part of their signature thing. So let's see if he will take back the iron, leather strips. All right, that's good. Looking pretty good there. All right, so we'll go sell off some of this other stuff that we don't need.
What can I do for you?
To Mr. Gunmar, if he's still around. There he is. Hey.
Oh, this is fine for now, but we can't stay holed up here. It's no war maidens, but I've got a decent supply.
All right, let's see. Buy some stuff. Don't see myself needing that or those. I certainly don't need 27 of those. Okay, we'll keep that. All right, now we're going to commit. So the mercenary armor is going. Okay. Anything extra here? Nope. I'm down to the basics.
Take care of yourself.
You as well. All right, so we're good to go now. So let's go gather up our people.
Oh, did you need something?
Watch what you're doing.
Pick up your damn candlestick, fool. All right. That gets
What now?
Goldier to follow us.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Now, let's make sure that we take that extra step to get back to our fighting gear. All right, so we're good to go. Let's move. So, we've got 2 missions we got to complete here. One for Serene, one for Gunmar. And then we got to find this Moth Priest, which is going to take us to Winterhold. Should be fun. Nice long journey. Now, there are going to be probably some roleplay ramifications, right? To Goldier going all in on the Dawnguard. That means that, you know, ideologically speaking, we're going to be playing Goldier as if he were a little bit closer to Isran in terms of his opinion about how all of this stuff should work. We already know that Isran and Raiden don't exactly see eye to eye on everything. I mean, their attitudes are different. So that could be interesting to sort of play out as we go forward. Something to keep in mind as we're moving along here. Hold on. You see what I'm seeing?
Who's there?
Is that it? Is that all of them?
It's so bright out here. I don't know how you stand it.
Hey, you wanted to come with. I'm not going to hear any complaints. You were the one who insisted you were coming with, okay? We're not going to travel strictly at night just to accommodate you. Got shit to do. So let's go. All right, so this is a stage that kind of amps up the war, which means that we're going to be faced with more frequent and potentially more deadly vampire ambushes along the way. So we've got some traveling to do, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to head back towards Whiterun, get some training on our way through there, and we are going to do that after this word from our sponsors. Here at Lost Barrel Brewing, we have a long tradition of crafting only the finest in ancient lagers. Great brews begin with great ingredients, and Draugr is made from only the finest grains and hops, aged for thousands of years. Every batch is brewed with ice-cold water drawn from the deepest caverns below the earth, checked for body parts, and triple filtered through fairly clean burial linens, then aged for hundreds of years in elder gleam barrels. Draugr is good, and is not meant for barmy, soft-gutted, plug-ugly tossers. Draugr, the great taste of the undead, with no bitter afterlife.
Better take Undead a little more alive.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are all doing well. I am doing fine. The sun is out. It's a beautiful day.
Are you finished ogling the grotesque?
All right.
I suppose I should be grateful you didn't simply attack me.
I think now is a good time. Let us start an afflicted count. That is afflicted number 1. We're going to count how many afflicted we run into during a normal travel experience. Because I swear to God, I've got... my Skyrim is flooded with afflicted. All right, so we had a vampire scouting mission that was inside the grotto or whatever. That can't be good, right? Okay.
I don't want to be immortal. Never back down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Whew. Damn. Ah, we achieved. We achieved our racial bonus from Imperious Races. That's awesome. Okay, that was nasty. I missed... I got a late start on my charge. And because of that, I missed my attack. My charging power attack, I mean. I want to look at some stuff here. Let's check a couple things out. Firstly... 32 vampire dust. 32 vampires dead at the hands of Raiden or his companions. That's a nice little statistic. I like that, and that is why we're collecting the vampire dust and not using it for anything. You'll also notice, if you look at this list, that I sold a whole bunch of alchemy ingredients. I sold everything I wasn't using. I just committed to the idea that alchemy is not going to be a thing for him. And I kept the stuff that I thought was important, okay? Not including the human flesh. I don't know where that came from. Can't remember. But, I mean, who doesn't want some human flesh? I mean, seriously. So, yeah, whatever. The other thing is... let's take a look at this power. Sand Dance. Now this comes from the Imperious Races mod. I had to make so many kills in order to get this. Enter a battle trance for 45 seconds, slowing time by 90% while sprinting. Now that's pretty interesting.
I don't have any choice.
Let's bookmark that baby. Okay, and we're going to make that 4. Our new sword is going to be 2. Our iron hunting knife will be 1. Malgrim's just a relic blade we're carrying until we find a good owner for it. All right, let's continue. So one of one of you lovely viewers was able to point out what I discovered last night myself in test play as well, which it is that it is a staff that Goldir is using that is conjuring the subjugated ghosts. You know? The apologetic ghosts. And I was somewhat confused by that because it just so happens I gave him the staff before we entered the one and only dungeon in this game that I'm aware of that actually contains subjugated ghosts. So I wasn't sure if this was something I was conjuring, he was conjuring, or if it was something glitching from the dungeon we had just been in. I couldn't tell what it was. So it was just kind of a coincidence that those two things happened at the same time. But in a way, it's kind of interesting. And I think we can work that into the roleplay, right? Goldir is... he's taking on an interesting role in this roleplay. When I think of Goldir, I think of him as being a good and loyal friend to Raiden, but they're kind of hitting that comfort level now where they don't have any fear of telling each other how they feel, which means that periodically there are times when they get into arguments. And now that there's some divergence in their philosophy on how this war should be fought, I think we can consider that as a possibility more often. Now, one of the things I talked about in the podcast is I was speculating about how I was going to handle Goldir's personality. My thought was that maybe Goldir would find some kind of attachment, or would form some sort of attachment with Serana, in that he might become infatuated with her, or consider her something of a love interest. However, that's interesting to consider. If I align him more closely with Isran, it's more realistic to think that he would be the one who detests Serana and her presence, and that Serana's presence would be more palatable to Raiden, who is, just by his upbringing, more tolerant when it comes to the whole undead question. Think of somebody who's raised in a society in which the dead are so revered that even when they get up and walk, if they're not threatening people, they kind of leave them be. But if they have to cut them down, they bring in the Ashaba to do it. I mean, to me, what that says is where a lot of people would look at Serana and basically they would see, you know, an ancient vampire bloodsucker.
Who's there?
Careful.
Done and done.
Whew, that was a timed block that worked out great. I think she would have punched my ticket otherwise. Holy cow. It happened so fast. I will tell you, I mean, I don't want you to get the mistaken impression that these battles are easy, because they're not. Okay? They are not. What I have discovered through test play is that playing at this character at Legendary with Wildcat Combat Overhaul, I can get one-shotted, one shot dead by a bear. So it really, really comes down to strategy and timing and just kind of being aware of what's going on around me and making sure I don't get myself in a bad situation. So I just wanted to mention that because there have been some comments in the past like, oh, you should turn up the difficulty. Well, I'm telling you, the difficulty is maxed and there's a combat overhaul here. It's just that I've been playing this game for 6 years now and I've gotten pretty good at the combat, so it is what it is, I guess. But I really do like Wildcat. I didn't like it at first, the first time I tried it, but I really do like it, especially with characters like this, who, you know, it's block and strike. makes a huge difference when you're using Wildcat and you're using the other Anision mods with it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to make a die roll to see if we sense dark intent. Now, we've been past this place enough times now that our dark intent roll is going to be at about 50% likelihood. So I got my little container of dice here. So there's a 50% chance that Raiden is going to sense dark intent coming from within this cave that is off to our left. And he does. 9%. So, we're going in. He senses something and he follows his nose because dark intent, what dark intent says to him is that there is some kind of an undead threat. So we're going to check it out. And this will be fun. I like me a good dungeon crawl now and again. All right. Now, as part of my role play, Dark Raiden, what we're going to find is Dark Raiden's his attitude is going to manifest in combat. He's going to be a bit more aggressive in combat than he has been in the past. So that should be fun too. All right, hopefully we can survive this without too much trouble.
I didn't see you there.
You seem troubled.
Of course I'm troubled. I'm on the verge of incredible wealth. But my
And of
cowardly
course.
workforce ran at the first sign of danger.
Who scared them
We
off?
were excavating this old tomb when we opened a chamber full of corpses. The team took one look, turned tail, and ran.
Haven't they seen dead bodies before?
Well, probably not like these. The ones in there are all still walking around.
Yeah, that's an issue.
In any case, if I can't get past the creatures in that room, I can't recover the treasure. I need more manpower.
All right. Tell me about this treasure.
Legend says this tomb holds a treasure that bestows great power on the one who discovers it. Beyond that, not much more is known. Obviously, this treasure will fetch a good deal of gold, and I'm willing to let you share in the reward when we find it.
All right.
In any case, if I can't get past the creatures in that room, I can't recover the treasure. I need more manpower.
All right, we can help.
Say, that's not a bad idea. You look like you could handle yourself against these beasts. I'll tell you what. You help me get the treasure, and I'll split it with you. Deal?
Deal.
Excellent. With my brains and your brawn, that treasure will soon be mine. Ours.
Uh-huh.
First, I need you to clear the main chamber of those monstrosities. I'll stay here until you're finished, planning our next move.
Sure. All right. Well, let's move on down here. Now, I'm going to create a quick save here, just in case, God forbid, I get killed in here. We don't have to sit through that dialogue again. Let's go see what's happening. Raiden doesn't really care about the treasure as much as he cares about rooting out the undead, and he's... The way I see it, he's kind of revved up. He's frustrated and he's upset.
Where'd you come from?
I'm sorry. This isn't what I want. I'll have you. I don't have any choice. I'm sorry.
Die!
I don't have any choice. I'm sorry.
Man. Whew, that was close. Now I'm still feeling the after effects. Okay? I'm still feeling the after effects of that shot he gave me with the ice. It's bad news, man. That is one of the interesting effects of Wildcat. I like how it handles things like that. Kind of brings you to your knees for a while, but it's understandable.
Have you killed them all yet?
Yeah, they're
Have you
done.
killed them all yet?
They're
Then
all
we've no
dead.
time to lose.
Again.
Follow me. Don't fall behind.
I was always taught to avoid these types of ruins. I think I see why now.
Ugh, she's bossy. Proceed. Come on.
Watch it.
All right. Jeez, she's the one falling behind here. Come on. Step it up, lady. Well, what do you say?
These doors seem to be the only thing left between me and the treasure.
All right, well, there's got to be some way to open them.
There'd better be. I didn't come all this way to leave empty-handed. There must be a way to activate these doors deeper in the ruins. Here, take this key. It should open the doors on either side of the chamber.
All right. Goldear. Wait with her. Make sure nothing happens. She seems like she might need some help.